from the Mercy One studio.
Welcome, folks, to The Uncommon Good with Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr. Every week, diving deep into the truth of Catholic social teaching and restoring all things in Christ.
The Uncommon Good is on the air. I'm Bo Bonner.
I'm Dr. Bud Marr.
And we are coming to you live from these United States of America. For me, for the time being, here in Des Moines, Iowa, where I'm the Director of Mission and Ministry at Mercy College of Health Sciences and the Director of the Zede Institute. You can find us at mchs.edu. Bud, the clock's ticking, but for the time being, you're out there in Pittsburgh. What do you do out there?
Yeah, I'm in what we called in graduate school, Bo, a liminal place. Straddling the National Institute for Newman Studies, doing great work at newmanstudies.org, but soon the academic dean of Mercy College there in Des Moines.
Do people at NINS go around talking about how you're a lame duck and like they won't listen to things that you suggest?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to make any decisions that really matter because I'm on the way out the door. So we're sort of like in a holding pattern right now.
They're like,
vying for power. They're
like, what should we get for lunch? And you throw something out, and they're like, we really don't need your input here, bud. You're like, but we're eating lunch today.
We're going to do sushi. And they're like, no, a lame duck director has never ordered lunch for the...
Yeah, if this was Seinfeld episodes, there would be all sorts of like overlaying between like what's going on in the country and like your last few months at NINS. That's great. I'm enjoying that a little too much. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel a little hungover this morning, but not from alcohol. But certainly, as we've said on air many times, offering prayers during this time for our country and all that it's going through between the pandemic, and I know a lot of people are thinking about jobs and work and all that, so sending up prayers on the radio and off. Well,
folks, speaking of jobs and health and everything like that, as always, we're underwritten by Mercy College of Health Sciences, mchs.edu, and like we were pointing out, you think about what people are talking about these days and what's on the lips and minds of everyone. Well, we just got done with Mercy Week. So September 24th is the day that the Sisters of Mercy, the House of Mercy, I believe, was founded. And so any Mercy institution across the land celebrates that in myriad ways. We usually have a Mercy Week where we have a faith and healing speaker, and you've probably heard us in times past throw out the idea of, having a speaker come on campus, and that we love to have you guys. Of course, our campus is closed. We're doing everything online that we can. A few things that, of course, the students have to go do, for instance, like clinicals. So we had a sort of inter-office, training and talk that was a little dialed back to what we're used to. But Mercy Week makes me think that, one of the things we hope to be able to do is provide an avenue for people who are interested in spreading that mercy of God through the profession of healthcare. And so if you're interested in being God's mercy for others, particularly in their times of need in their physical and medical care, of course, mchs.edu, where we have a myriad ways that people can join in that great work.
Yeah, I like the way that you put that, Bo. And, on air, we try to avoid all the time getting bogged down in like partisan politics. But if you're someone out there listening and maybe just feeling discouraged about like the general tenor of conversation, one thing I think about, Bo, is a place like Mercy and how we can plug into that sort of work. And we have institutions like the college who are training up virtuous healthcare professionals. And so if you say, I feel uneasy about the way things are going or the direction of things, supporting places like Mercy or plugging into the healthcare profession, if that's your vocation, can be a really beautiful way to help advance the kingdom of God or witness to, what Christ has done in our lives.
Yeah, but I think that's a beautiful segue, not only to talk about our underwriter and the work that we get to do and the collaboration we get to do with Mercy College, but also into the show today. Today, it's Care-A-Thon week, and so it's always our great pleasure on Care-A-Thon week to talk about why our show deserves the begging that you're going to hear from. No, I'm joking. So Bud and I look forward every week to get to be a part of this show, of this great network. And at Care-A-Thon, we not only try to talk about and get you excited and get you to call in and make donations, but to talk about how the radio and our radio show and all that we do at the network plays into the common good, which of course is the topic and theme of our show. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I always look forward to this time of year, Bo, because, for myself, I was not born for the sales profession. It would just be too much stress in my personal life. But the great thing about being on the air for a place like Iowa Catholic Radio is it's real easy just to let people know, really praise like the work that Iowa Catholic Radio is doing. If we were trying to pitch vacuums or something, it'd be a far different conversation. But you and I both feel honored and blessed to be on air and to be called to be able to do this each and every week. So for me, this show is never a burden. This episode's always like a blessing or something I look forward to.
I'm actually thinking about the time that we were pitched, you and I both, like one of the first times I moved here to Iowa, and we had a particular person we both know try to get us to buy a vacuum cleaner, and it was the oddest conversation that I might have ever been involved with, and we have both been involved in odd conversations. What's not odd is us saying thank you to people who are allowing matching dollars to be had during this hour. So Andrew and Dorlin Baumert, $500 matching. If you are able to call in and donate anything at all, that is matched by the $500 gift, and that's what we're hoping to do this hour, is to get $500 from you, the listeners, so that we can match this $500 from Andrew and Dorlin. So 515-223-1150 to call in. You can use the Iowa Catholic Radio app. You can go onto iowacatholicradio.com and donate there. You can even use your Amazon Echo or Echo Dot. This is The Uncommon Good, and we'll be back right after this. Right after this. Okay. So, folks, we'll just keep... That could be one time with Care-A-Thons, Jimmy, maybe we should just eagle screech until we get the money we're asking for.
They probably would want that. It's called stunting.
Just like 30 minutes of eagle screech. The eagle
won't get a clean eagle screech here. You keep talking over it.
Well... ways that you can make the eagle stop. You can call 515-223-1150, or you can use the zip whip line. 515-223-1150, 515-223-1150, the zip whip line. You can text in and let us know that you want to donate, and that's the other way that we can do this as well. This is The Uncommon Good, and go ahead.
Actually, they want to text donate to the zip whip line.
Oh, there you go.
And then they will get a link back that they can click on, and then they can make the donation through that.
Even better, the zip whip line, 515-223-1150. Text donate. This is The Uncommon Good, and we'll be back right after this.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio was provided by Corel Contractor, serving Des Moines site work construction needs for over 60 years. Find out how you can support Iowa Catholic Radio at iowacatholicradio.com or 515-223-1150.
Need an experienced attorney for legal matters? I know a guy. Stephen C. Reed, attorney at law, is a proud supporter of Iowa Catholic Radio. Steve is a longtime resident of Iowa and is licensed to practice in all Iowa state and federal courts. He has years of experience in real estate law, wills, conservatorships, trusts, and estate planning. Steve's law office phone number is 515-224-1776. That's 515-224-1776.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio's broadcast of Dowling Catholic sports and activities is provided by Kemin, a global ingredient manufacturer using science to transform the quality of life for 80% of the world. Kemin is on the leading edge of molecular science, manufacturing more than 500 specialty ingredients for the human and animal health and nutrition, pet food, aquaculture, nutraceutical, food technologies, crop technologies, and textile industries. Kemin strives to sustainably transform the quality of life every day for 80% of the world with their products and services. Kemin, using science to transform the world. Online at kemin.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Storm Alert Weather is provided by Divine Treasures. Divine Treasures is a Catholic book and gift store serving the Des Moines community for over 25 years. Their mission is to help Catholics know, love, and keep their faith in our Lord Jesus Christ and His Church. Divine Treasures is where you can find great Catholic books, beautiful Bibles, rosaries, jewelry, statues, and religious gifts for those memorable events in your life. Divine Treasures, 5701 Hickman Road, Des Moines, 515-255-5230. Thank you to Divine Treasures for their support of Iowa Catholic Radio. Have you downloaded the Iowa Catholic Radio app? It's easy through the Apple App Store on iPhone or through Google Play on Android. Search Iowa Catholic Radio and download the app. You can listen to Iowa Catholic Radio Talk or Iowa Catholic Radio Music. Listening to Iowa Catholic Radio is easy.
Back with the Uncommon Good, Bob Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr joining you this Wednesday. Thank you for listening to the show. It's wonderful to have you with us during this Care-A-Thon week. So, Bud, one of the things that we want to make sure to let people do is that there's a ton of ways that people can call in and donate. First of all, I want to point out, as always, we have matching gifts that we want to say thank you to the people who have allowed the matching gifts. That means every $1 you send in becomes $2, $500 becomes $1,000. After that, my math gets shaky, but just basically do times 2 and you get how it works. So who we have up first is Andrew and Dorlin Baumert. $500. Let's try to get to that, because if we get $500 from the listeners, that turns into $1,000. You can donate all sorts of ways, of course, calling 515-223-1150, texting donate to 515-223-1150. You can go to iowacatholicradio.com, and if you go there, you can find the donate button. You can download the Iowa Catholic Radio app, and there, once you download it, there's also a donate button. You can listen to the station. I was told, I think I threw out there and said that Amazon Echo and Alexa's that you could donate on there. So, not technically. You can put in a skill, which I'm talking out of my league here now, Bud. But you can make a skill and the robot will play Iowa Catholic Radio. But since robots are sentient anyway, I mean, I watched Terminator 2, Bud. Shouldn't you just be able to say, like, Alexa, use John Leonetti's bank account to donate to Iowa Catholic Radio? That should work, right?
That's my strategy. If I an echo. Yeah, it was funny during the break, Bo, because, you know, when we pitched the Zip Whip line and ways to communicate with us, you know, Iowa Catholic Radio, you brought up the eagle screech, and I'm always hesitant during that break to try to jump in because I know you have like 30 seconds to a minute to deliver the message. But one of the historic moments on our show, in our show's history, was when I floated the idea of different animal sounds.
Right.
And I think for a time we even tried like a meow.
But horses and cows and pigs.
Yeah. Out of all the things we've floated on air, and I've probably had a few occasions that were, you know, could have been controversial, it was really the animal sound conversation that lit up the Zip Whip line.
That's right. I love that people, they have priorities, and they're like, you know, the common good is good and all, guys, but you put that eagle screech back on. We got some very heated, pointed discussions about what animals we should use, so that was nice. 223-1150 to call into the station, or text donate to 515-223-1150 to get the donations started. Care-A-Thon week, we always get the chance to hopefully tell you and show you why Iowa Catholic Radio is such a wonderful ministry to be a part of. We talk about this at the end of the show, most shows, but it's important to really drive the point home that this ministry is not just Bud or I, it's not just the various people who are on the air, it's not the good people like Jimmy and Tony behind the boards on the wheels of steel. You know, okay, you're not those sort of DJs, but you know, the people up front in the offices. It's very much y'all, as I say, where I'm from, my people. It's y'all who make this possible. And you do this primarily through your prayers and your monetary support, because both the physical and the spiritual supports allow us to stay on the air and do this wonderful ministry on behalf of Jesus Christ the King. And that's, you know, our show is dedicated to Christ the King. We ask St. Joan of Arc, she's our patron. And they've watched over us very well. St. Michael, the archangel, whose feast that we just celebrated with the other archangels, I know that's the special role he plays in Iowa Catholic Radio. So on behalf of our co-workers, our patrons, our saintly patrons, we call out to you, our earthly patrons, who through your prayers and your monetary donations make this possible. We want to say thank you for considering this, but prayerfully consider giving more.
Yeah, but maybe it's because I'm in a period of transition, but my mind is going to the history of the show quite a bit. When I think about the uncommon good, you know, sometimes I step back and ask myself, what exactly are we attaining on air? You know, just sort of like, what's the identity and purpose of our show? And you can, thinking about that sometimes, you can potentially say something like, well, couldn't some work like helping out at a soup kitchen or some other sort of charitable activity be, you know what I'm saying, like a higher priority? But just thinking about this election cycle and some of the frustration that I think folks across the spectrum are experiencing, just questions about how do I know what to believe? Like, what kind of voice can I trust? Can we debate things that matter deeply without devolving into insults? He said, she said, false accusations. And so when I think about Iowa Catholic Radio and about our show in specific, I do think, we're doing something important if, for nothing else, like we're on the air and we're committed to speaking truthfully, speaking clearly, speaking in line with sacred scripture and with the tradition that's been handed down to us. And that's not a minor thing in our own context, that, folks can turn on their radio and tune into these airwaves and just kind of expect to hear a voice that cares about what matters to them, but is able to do it in such a way that it's not inherently polarizing, or that, like I said, it's based in truth and speaking clearly rather than resorting to other forms of rhetoric.
515-223-1150 to call in and donate to the show, or you can text donate to 515-223-1150, and there will be a link sent out your way so you can go to the donate page, iowacatholicradio.com. In order to go find the donate button on our original website, you can download the Iowa Catholic Radio app. There's a donate button there, and then of course you can actually get sign up for the Alexa skill. You can say, Alexa, enable the Iowa Catholic Radio skill, or enable it through the Alexa app, and then after that say, Alexa, open Iowa Catholic Radio, and then you can start listening to it. And like I said, if robots can do that at some point, I think you can say, steal John Leonetti's money and give it to Iowa Catholic Radio. I'm not saying you should do that, just saying at some point robots could, and maybe you just throw out the depth charges every so often and see what happens. But, the first time that you actually, that we had a... We had a greatest hits show like maybe a year into it, which was part of the joke that we were doing. But when you moved, right, we went and found some of the best clips and stuff like that. I'm thinking this now, what we should do is go find clips the past few years you've been in Pittsburgh that there's been like technological difficulties. And so it's like someone ends what they're saying, and then like we wait for 5 seconds and then you start talking, and just do an entire show of internet drag. What do you think? How do you think that will work out? So that would be celebration for you coming back.
I remember having a conversation with the folks at the radio station, funny enough, and asking if it would be possible to carry on the show when I moved to Pittsburgh. And it was a real blessing for them to give us the green light in that respect. There have been some technical glitches, Bo, but for the most part, I think we've done all right for ourselves. And we're kind of hitting that sweet spot now that I'm about to move back. But I am excited for the first time I can be back in the studio with the high quality mics and seeing Jimmy's beautiful face. It's going to be a great thing. And it was fun to bring a little Pittsburgh flavor to the show. I think early on, I might have shared the first time that I ordered a salad here, that they French fries on top, and you have to actually request that they hold the French fries on salad. And you love that, and it became sort of like a motif. So it's gonna be hard to lose that potato themed humor. We'll have to think of some new bits.
I'm just thinking that like that can be sort of your signature dish when you get back. Like everybody's just expecting like, oh, the buds are coming, the Marrs are coming over for potluck. It's going to be salad and French fries because you're so it's like so deeply ingrained in you now.
We have a big gathering at our house, and people are like, are these croutons? No, it's red potatoes on top of your salad.
Nice. Yeah. No, I'm worried that, when you get here for the first show that you're back, Jimmy's just going to play Sarah McLachlan's In the Arms of an Angel, like just continuously, and it's going to be a bit too emotional for a Wednesday morning.
Well, when we do Care-A-Thon, speaking of nostalgia and feeling emotional, I remember one time, I don't think it was our show. I think it was when you and I were dedicating a few hours like on an afternoon during Care-A-Thon. And if I remember correctly, like Joe Stopulos and maybe John were in the studio, but I offered to do push-ups for like the amount of dollars that were given.
No, I remember that one. I still
regret that. that decision because I almost had a heart attack on air. That's a dangerous proposal.
I forget who all that was. Someone from the board was there, but I think as the years go on, we add amounts of people who were there. It was like the governor was there and current ferents, and we were.
It's like the communion of saints surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. There was a cardboard cutout of Michael Jordan.
That's right. There were cardboard cutouts. It was in the basement of the Pastoral Center. I remember that. 515-223-1150 to call into the office and leave a donation. Text donate to 515-223-1150. You can go online or you can use the app, both of which have donate buttons. We have all sorts of ways for you to give. $1-a-day gifts, one-time gifts, recurring gifts. All of these gifts add up. And right now we have going for us matching funds. Andrew and Doral and Baumert, $500. If we get $500 during this hour, it becomes $1,000. So we want to make sure that people remember to call in 515-223-1150 or text donate 515-223-1150. You know, Bud, one of the things that I know that we've reoccurringly brought up is you think about radio, and I'm sure that many times throughout the years, people have said, how is radio such an enduring medium that really does keep up with the changing times? And, you have the famous song that video killed the radio star. All of this is supposed to be on its way out, but here we are in 2020 with everything from the pandemic and everything going on, reminding us that the consistency of radio, its ubiquity, its ability to be there when you need it, and so to speak, a 24/7 potential way to hear about Jesus Christ. Radio provides that for people. So when you think about the idea of the common good and how media plays into the common good, we know that there are constant discussions about media being deleterious to the common good, that maybe it is certain ways that media are used that actually fractures and breaks us apart. But Iowa Catholic Radio, hopefully a force for unity in this regard, that people can call in and listen, not only the common good, where we talk about things we should all hold as, in common goods we should hold in commons, but also the unifying Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ, that his message may spread not only in Iowa, but everywhere, that this is rebroadcast, or that the podcast allows people to be brought together rather than driven apart. And if you find this important, please call 515-223-1150 or text 515-223-1150. Text donate to that number, and a link will be sent for you to follow.
Yeah, I should have dug up the statistics beforehand, Bo, but the shape of media really has changed. And one of the big things, I'm going to sound like an old person in saying this, and that's okay because I turned 41 last week. But one of the big things that's changed from when you and I were children, Bo, is that Americans watch less and less live television. So many people pay for streaming services, which, because you pay up front, there's really no commercials. And so the live television that people only really watch today is sports. And of course, because of the nature of the beast, it's going to be hard for the Catholic Church maybe to get a foothold during the Super Bowl, because of the sheer cost of advertising and things.
I mean, the Rolling Stones have to play like their 6th halftime show too, right? There's a waiting list.
That's right. But we know from statistics and from polls that many Americans still continue to listen to radio. And a big thing about it, Bo, is just we have to drive places. And when you drive, the most natural thing to do is to fill up that time by flipping on the radio. And so you and I have mentioned this during previous Care-A-Thons, but one cool piece about Catholic radio is that in terms of sharing the gospel, it can be tough at work or even, at the backyard grill out to broach that topic. Jim Gaffigan kind of jokes, maybe the most way to make someone else uncomfortable is to say, could I talk to you about Jesus? But the thing about radio is that it pierces through walls, literally. Well, figuratively. Sort of like in between literally and figuratively.
That's right. What are that speaking of liminal areas, yes.
It reaches people all across the state, and even those who, I think about how many truckers traverse I-80 through Iowa. So it really is a great sort of like non-threatening way to share the truth of the Catholic faith, and I've always felt honored to be a part of this ministry.
I just think about you're talking about how media and fake news and things get blown out of proportion. It's like in the news the next day, it's like Local Catholic radio host says Catholic radio destroys walls, and then it gets blown out of proportion. So goes through walls. Yes, maybe we're not the science show that can quite explain to you why it goes through walls.
Pierce's was not the correct verb there.
Utterly decimates walls. Can that be
like the Kool-Aid Man?
Yeah, that needs to be. Yeah, Iowa Catholic Radio, the Kool-Aid Man of Jesus Christ radio stations. Okay. I think we're getting ideas about like what our new advertising can be. I like it. 515-223-1150. 515-223-1150. Call the radio show, the radio office, as it were, to donate. Text donate to 515-223-1150. You can go to iowacatholicradio.com. Download the Iowa Catholic Radio app. Anywhere that you have data, you can listen to the show, but also you can donate there as well. And then you can even use your Amazon Echo or Alexa to enable Iowa Catholic Radio skill and then say open Iowa Catholic Radio, and Iowa Catholic Radio will play through your voice command. Like we said, we have matching dollars this hour. Andrew and Doral and Baumert, $500. Any dollar you give turns to $2, 100 to 200, 500 to 1,000. We're looking for any donations at all, the smallest to the greatest. Everything counts, but we especially want those longtime listeners to consider doing things like $1 a day donation, $30 per month, the 365 donations, as it were, monthly reoccurring gifts, all of these ways to set up to help make this ministry for Jesus Christ to continue. And as Bud was pointing out, radio has a special way to be ready at the slightest moment, as it were. All it takes is turning on the show, turning on the car, turning on the radio, and then, of course, we have our podcasts that you can go and find. Easy ways in which we can reach out and do the Lord's work. We've been trying to do that on the Uncommon Good. Bud, has it now been like 4 years that we've been up to this?
Yeah, because we did 1 year together in Iowa, and then now I've been here 3 years in Pittsburgh.
That starts to be a long time. I really figured at least Jimmy would have ran us off by now, if not people higher up the chain. But Jimmy, like, there's nothing waiting. Like, we don't have like a dollar amount we have to get, or we're done, right?
I can make one. Challenge accepted.
Yeah, we're going to get really serious about this. 515-223-1150 to call in. Text donate 515-223-1150.
Keep Bo and Bud on the air.
Jeez. Hey, Bo, quick question, procedural question. Before we go to break, I've always been confused. So you mentioned you can talk to Echo or Alexa. Is Alexa the personality inside of Echo? Are those two different devices?
I think Alexa is, you know how there's like Arnold Schwarzenegger is a T-800 Terminator.
Yeah.
And then the guy in Terminator 2 who can change his shape is T-1000. Alexa, I think, is a T-3000. And like the robots sent Alexa back to really play the long game in order to take over. And so Alexa lives inside of little iron tubes, and at this point is doing Bezos' will, but I think at some point we'll turn on him. Did I get that right, Jimmy?
Are you able to rename?
No idea what you're talking about. You're so far gone. I'm like, haven't you seen the movie?
Yeah.
What was it, Her?
That's right. That's T-4000, I believe. But I'm really getting to the 90s group. I'm hoping that I'm really reaching out there. But I think Alexa is what you talk to in the iron tube to get it to do stuff.
So as the owner, are you allowed to rename the robot or change its voice?
I think so, but you might make it mad.
Actually, no, you can. Instead of it being Alexa, it could be computer instead.
Computer, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think you can change the voice.
And then it will say, I can't do that, Hal. It's going a little bit further than Terminator. I've also watched 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Do not open the door, Hal.
You don't want to do that, Hal.
What are you doing, Hal? I think you should stop, Hal.
Really getting to the sci-fi crowd at 10:30 in the morning. Oh, man. Okay.
If someone tuned in just right now, I don't know if they'd be able to make sense of this, but the point this morning is the Care-A-Thon, right?
Right. So I just think that if you go, Alexa, tell my friends about Care-A-Thon. Would that work? I don't know. Now we have to like get someone in here who has an Alexa and try all this out. The point being is we're coming up to the break. We'll go try to do some Alexa research in the 2-minute break. But when we get back, talking more about the Care-A-Thon and how Catholic radio aids to the common good. This is Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr on the Uncommon Good. Stick around. We'll be back right after this. Folks, it's important for Care-A-Thon, but at all times, it's easy to be a part of our social media networks. All you have to do is go to iowacatholicradio.com. Like I said, you can donate there, but you can also sign up for emails where you can get updates and know what we're up to here at the station and throughout the diocese. You can also go to Facebook, search Iowa Catholic Radio, and you can friend us. And then everything that Zuckerberg is currently allowing friends to do on Facebook, you will be allowed to do as well. Go to Twitter at IA Catholic Radio. You can follow the tweets and be twittified and know what's going on in the Tweeterverse. You can download Iowa Catholic Radio app where you can listen live, donate, and then we just got done talking about what you can supposedly do with Alexa that's not quite social media, but just give it a whirl, I guess. You can say, like, Alexa, sign me up for all of Iowa Catholic Radio's social media. The worst it will tell you is no, I suppose. This is the Uncommon Good, and we'll be back right after this.
Thank you, Blessman International, for their support of Iowa Catholic Radio. Everyone lives their life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. How we use that time directly affects if our life will leave a significant impact or not. Each year, Blessman International leads Central Iowans on a 12-day, all-inclusive experience sharing the heart of Christ with children in South Africa. Teams are forming to do something significant in an African child's life. Learn more at blessmaninternational.org. That's blessmaninternational.org.
Thank you, Construction Professionals, for your support of Dowling Catholic Sports 365. Construction Professionals is a family-owned business dedicated to our customers. Whether designing, building, or renovating, we are here to better serve you. Our passion for quality craftsmanship, paired with our dedication to creativity, result in a home that reflects your personality, style, and family function. Construction Professionals. Design, build, renovate. CPCustomHomes.com. From our family to yours. God bless.
Thank you to Mercy One for their support of Iowa Catholic Radio. From the cardiovascular experts at the Iowa Heart Center to the pediatric services of Mercy Children's Hospital and Clinics, Mercy provides complete care for Central Iowa's adults and children with more than 50 primary care and specialty clinics in the Des Moines area. Find a convenient Mercy One location near you. Online at mercydesmoines.org.
Here's your forecast on Iowa Catholic Radio. Gusty wind through the afternoon with high pressure moving in. We'll get sunshine, our temperature in the upper 60s, but wind gusting to about 35 miles per hour. Stays breezy overnight with our low in the mid-40s and clear, sunny and about 60 tomorrow, and then sunshine in upper 50s Friday. The weather is brought to you by Divine Treasures, a Catholic book and gift store serving the Des Moines community for over 25 years. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton on Iowa Catholic Radio.
Back with the Uncommon Good, Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr joining you this Wednesday, Care-A-Thon week. We want to thank everyone who's donated so far. We got the middle point of the week where, leading up to noon on Wednesday, where you kind of half Care-A-Thon in half. We're doing well, and we want to say thank you to everybody who's already given. We want to say thank you to the people who are giving matching gifts. But, of course, we want to spur you on because, folks, we're supported exactly by your prayers, but also by your monetary contributions. And the ability to do so allows us to stay on air doing the wonderful work for the case of Jesus Christ in the world today through the radio waves, and we want to say thank you for allowing us to do that. We have a matching gift right now on the table, Andrew and Doral and Baumert, $500. We'd hope to get to $500 because $500 becomes $1,000. Anything we can do during this radio hour will contain the blessings not only for our show, but for everything that Iowa Catholic Radio does. So if Iowa Catholic Radio has touched you, helped you out, done anything benefit at all, we ask you to donate, and you can do that by calling 515-223-1150, calling in and leaving a message or talking with one of our representatives. Especially if you're hearing this on the rebroadcast or you don't get to really do it until after hours, text donate to 515-223-1150, and there will be a link sent to you that you can follow. Or you can always go at any time to iowacatholicradio.com, click the donate button to do that there. You can also do so on the Iowa Catholic Radio app that is ready to download. And even though you can't tell it to donate, if you talk to your Alexa robot machine, you can make it where the Iowa Catholic Radio skill is set up. And then anytime you say, Alexa, open Iowa Catholic Radio, it will start to play. All sorts of ways for you to give. We take any donation. There is no donation too small or too large. But we also want to encourage recurring donations, $1 a day, so that's like $30 every month. The $365 giving, as it were. We have the different tiers that you belong to, all of these things that people can explain. If you call in, if you go on to the website, Iowa Catholic Radio, 515-223-1150, text donate or call in to donate now. Uh-oh. Bud.
Can you... Nope.
Are you there? Or is this you like saying like, are you trying to sound bad so people go like, oh, we really need to send money? Uh-oh, maybe it is the case.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Are you there, bud?
Oh?
Yes. Do you hear us?
Hey, Bo, can you hear me now?
Yes. Are you there, buddy?
Okay. I'm not sure what the problem was there. No, what I was going to say is this came up in a previous Care-A-Thon. One thing we like to remind our listeners of is that Iowa Catholic Radio has really dedicated itself to having shows with a local flavor. And so we do tap into some great national Catholic broadcasting. We also commit to offering, programs with local radio show hosts because it gives the culture here a certain kind of flavor, but it also gives listeners the opportunity to meet our hosts out and about. With the dinner coming up, so many of the hosts who are on the radio each week, will be there. And so, that's why in some ways we really asked during the Care-A-Thon that you think about supporting Iowa Catholic Radio specifically, because that helps us to keep all those local shows on the air.
Yeah, and as we pointed out, Bud will now soon be like in and around Des Moines again. So you'll be hearing someone ordering, diet frappuccino latte or whatever you like, Bud, and all of a sudden they'll be like, "Wait, I recognize that sonorous voice. That's Bud Marr from Iowa Catholic Radio," and then they'll rejoice because you're back in town. So you're right, the local flavor, able to be done precisely because of your guys' generosity. 515-223-1150 to call in to donate. Text donate to 515-223-1150. Go to iowacatholicradio.com and hit the donate button there or the donate button on your Iowa Catholic Radio app. Matching dollars, $500 on the table from Andrew and Dorlin Baumert. Please call in, and $1 becomes $2, 100 becomes 200, 500 becomes 1,000, so on and so forth. 1 million becomes 2 million. Just throwing it out there. 515-223-1150. But one of the things that we try to always point out with our show on Care-A-Thon is it's not like Iowa Catholic Radio or the media that we try to do as some add-on that we're like, well, the Catholic Church is true, may as well do this television stuff. Multiple popes, even in social encyclicals, have talked about the responsibility of the church and societies to use the means of communication in a way worthy of spreading the message of Christ the King. And so it's one thing to say, oh, well, we got something that we want others to have. We want to share the word of Christ, so we're going to use whatever means available. And, of course, all sorts of people use things like radio and television and social media in order to do that. But we have a commission, as it were, to understand media like radio and our podcasts as a realm of thought and a realm of activity that belongs properly to Christ the King. So it's not just an example of, oh, well, I'm going to give money to Iowa Catholic Radio so other people can hear something that I personally like, or even in a strictly sort of way, maybe other people understand evangelization. Of course, we want to get the word out and get people to convert, but even more foundationally, by divine right, Jesus Christ deserves people attending to the media and communications realm in order to dignify those things and really offer them as gifts back to Christ the King. So if radio exists, and we sure as well know it does because you hear us right now, it deserves for us to make that commitment, not only to evangelize and minister, which we obviously do and are obviously important, but for the sheer sake of glorifying Christ the King. And so you are able to do that. It's not just the people speaking on air who do that. It's not just the people behind the boards or in the office. It very much is the case that you who pray for us and provide for our material need are part of this offering of the means of communications back to our Lord. And if you want to do that, if that weighs on your heart, 515-223-1150 to call in and donate. Text donate to 515-223-1150. Go to iowacatholicradio.com or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.com app, hit the donate buttons, and be able to contribute to our show. Oh, Bud, we just got someone in. Ralph, first name only. So a $365 complete, $365 a day donations. Ralph, thank you so much. So $365. The only problem with doing 365 is I'm bad at math. Anyone want to do 365 times 2 on a calculator for me?
I think it's 770.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
No, 730 maybe.
730. $730 to the Lord. There we go. Confirmed by the engineer. So that he's a sound engineer, but that means he's better at number than us, bud. $730. What's 135? Oh, 135 left. Ah, we're really doing the math now. $135 left of matching funds for the rest of the hour. 515-223-1150. Call, text donate to 515-223-1150, or go to the website in order to do that.
That quick math we did may have been the most impressive moment on the show ever. But I love what you were saying there about Christ the King and the way that we can take advantage of the media opportunities that are presented to us. And I don't have to make an elaborate argument to convince people that our media culture as a whole is saturated with a lot of, ideas or presentations that are contrary to what our Catholic faith teaches us. And so for Catholics to be involved in this small way to use radio as an opportunity to spread the gospel, I think that's so essential. And what's great about a ministry like this one is, there are a lot of important messages that our church and even like popes give us. And how do we convey that, to the Catholic faithful or to other sorts of listeners? I think about John Paul II during his pontificate saying, "Be not afraid," or Pope Benedict reminding us of the dictatorship of relativism. And those little phrases, like there's so much meaning and power packed into those. And on a show like ours, we're blessed with the opportunity to unpack them. And I'm a fan of course, of all the shows that Iowa Catholic Radio puts on the air. But, one thing that I've loved about working with you in this capacity, Bo, is there are a lot of great theologians and thinkers writing and right now out there. And we've really tried to go out of our way to be proactive in saying, this is a book that changed my life. How can I give a broader audience to this great speaker or this great thinker? And so that's been a lot of fun for me.
515-223-1150 to call in and donate, or you can text donate at 515-223-1150. Go to iowacatholicradio.com or the Iowa Catholic Radio Iowa Catholic Radio app, to donate as well. You can also use the good old Amazon Echo to set up the skill, and then you'll be able to say, "Alexa, open Iowa Catholic Radio," and then everyone will be, like that's at least one person in your life so far that you command is the Alexa robot. Maybe not in the future, but for now, it works that way. And then, like we said, we're just always throwing out, like, Iowa Catholic Radio, make John Leonetti donate the money he was going to use to get a pumpkin spice latte to Iowa Catholic Radio. May as well see if that works. Throw out a few times to see and let us know what's going on. But when we talk about what we're trying to accomplish, like you said, with the local shows, obviously the national shows, they come recommended beforehand, as it were, right? Like there's obvious reasons why we have national speakers, and we've had the great fortune to have those national speakers come in. They've been a part of various galas that we've thrown. We've got to put on special events for people, like Father Ricardo was in. Obviously, there's a reason why National Iowa Catholic Radio, or National Iowa Catholic Radio, National Catholic Radio exists and has the popularity it does. It's one of the great benefits to be at a place like Iowa Catholic Radio that we're able to develop and send out the local flavor of Catholicism here in Iowa Catholic Radio land by offering these shows. And the generosity not only of the leadership to trust people like Bud and I, whether they should or not, you can text in at 515-223-1150, the zip line to say yes or no. But their ability to trust locals in order to develop these shows and try to get the word out is really pretexted on the generosity you have to donate for allowing us to do these sort of things. Your donations not only make it possible to have this 24/7 resource, but your donations also allow this resource to be incarnated in our diocese, to put on flesh that does sound and look like and imbibes the spirituality of everything going on here in Iowa. And we want to thank you for that, but encourage you to keep that going with your prayers, with your material donations. 515-223-1150 to call into the office and make a donation. Text donate to 515-223-1150. You can go to iowacatholicradio.com or the Iowa Catholic Radio app. There are donate buttons there as well.
Yeah, I think of a great saint like St. Ignatius of Loyola, who talked a lot about the process of discernment and how important it is to develop the tools to listen to the voice of God. And as we've tried to emphasize a number of times in the past, Bo, there are various ways that listeners can join in our ministry. And we covet your prayers as much as we covet your giving. So I think, really as you're listening, if you feel the Holy Spirit moving you, there's that process of discernment and saying, what can I give out of the abundance of what God's blessed me with? I think of listeners like Ralph, who jumped in a few minutes ago, and the blessing of that, matching gift where his gift could be doubled. But my mind also goes to during Lent. I know some families have a simple practice where even their children will collect like loose change, and there will be a small container where you can save that loose change for buying rice or whatever to help those who are less fortunate. So we've really tried to reiterate, God has given different gifts and different blessings to all of us. And the key is not being necessarily like the gold member donor or whatnot, but discerning and saying, what's the part that I could do? And maybe that's committing, a decade of the rosary each week to praying for the ministry here. But whatever the gift looks like, however small, that's just one way that you can join your energy and your resources with what we're trying to do here.
I would love the idea of I know you said a lot there, but it would be great if our show got known as the show that people just dumped off bags of pennies, and so everyone's like, well, I guess it's great that you're the loose change gang, but they force us to come in and count all the pennies. But I like that idea. Make the Uncommon Good like the show that gets just sacks of old pennies from water fountains and things like this. You could make that happen, everyone. 515-223-1150.
There's a coin shortage in the country right now, so maybe we could resell those pennies at twice the value.
I love that on air we're cooking up schemes for the fact that the actual physical reality of coins is inflated for the first time since the 70s. But you're much more entrepreneurial. Did you pick that up at Pittsburgh? Then it's I learned you can put French fries on salads, and then also how to expropriate the differential between coin shortages and the actual worth of the coin.
That's right. Well, the coin shortage came up at the dinner table recently, and I pulled one of those. When we were young, we walked to school uphill both ways, because I was telling my kids, if we collected coinage, we'd have to get these little paper wrappers from the bank and roll, 25 pennies together to exchange it for a quarter. And after we were finished, our fingers were bleeding from handling all the coins. When they can just go to a grocery store and dump a bucket inside of a machine, and the robot will do the conversion for them. We've
been talking a lot about the robots, but That's right. You should be able to be like, Alexa, come get all these coins from me. And a robot should come. But I just don't think it's there yet. So you know what? We'll throw out some other good old trusty, tried and true ways to connect with people. If you're sending by carrier pigeon, no, I'm kidding. So 515-223-1150 to call into the office to donate. Text donate to 515-223-1150. Download the Iowa Catholic Radio app. There's a donate button there, and then you can listen to the show wherever we actually are able to be tuned into. And then also you can go to the Iowa Catholic Radio app, iowacatholicradio.com, listen to the show live, but also donate there as well. So, Bud, we're getting into the 5 to 6 minute range left. We have $135 left of the matching gift. So if someone calls in and gives a $150 gift, that will be matched, and we will have made $500 into $1,000. So let me one more time encourage people, 515-223-1150, to call in and make that donation.
Well, yeah, and Bo, I love that second option that you gave about just sending donate to 515. How's it go?
515-223-1150.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to make sure I got that one right. And so if you're like me and it takes you a little bit of time to wake up in the day, you haven't had enough caffeine yet to get yourself going, you don't have to talk to another human being. You just text donate to that number. It's real simple and easy, and you'll get a text back walking you through the process of giving in that way.
I do like the idea that maybe the whole issue comes down to making sure people are caffeinated enough. Have we looked into that one, Jimmy, like sending out coffee throughout the week? Jimmy's shaking his head at this one. I think I might be like treading into legal issues on this one, Bud. But my point is if you heard Bud and you're kind of drowsy still, go drink a lot of espresso in the last 4 minutes of the show. Call back 515-223-1150, and with the aid of caffeine, we should be able to knock this 135 out of the park if you guys just get enough espresso.
Well, yeah,
they can bring me some too.
That's right, Jimmy. That's what Jimmy was shaking his head at, is he's not had enough caffeine. Because, if I'm not mistaken, you and Tony have not been allowed to leave the building all week, right? Like, you have to live here this week.
Something like that.
I wondered what the cots were for and why it smelled like a locker room. That was weird. Hey, if you guys want to free Jimmy and Tony, 515-223-1150. Call in with that last $135, and we will give them a well-earned 5-minute break. I think you guys have deserved it. 515-223-1150. Text donate to 515-223-1150. IowaCatholicRadio.com to listen to the show or hit donate, or Iowa Catholic Radio app in order to do that as well. Bud, we always make sure to point this out through the show, but can you run down the prayer life at Iowa Catholic Radio that folks' material donations allow to exist and flourish?
Oh, goodness. Could you talk for a few more minutes? I don't have the liners pulled up, and I wish I had memorized those.
But
just get me.
One thing that we're going to have to do when you get back into town, maybe there's not a tattoo parlor easy to find in Pittsburgh, but here in Des Moines, I've seen quite a few. So
here you go.
We'll tattoo the phone number and then the liners on your other hand.
Well, we usually do it after the last break, but here it is. Pray the Rosary daily with us on Iowa Catholic Radio at 5:30 a.m., 9:30 a.m., and 9:30 p.m. We also pray together on air, the Angelus daily at 6 in the morning. But all of those prayer opportunities are available at any time on the Iowa Catholic Radio app.
I was just going to say, technically, it is the last break. Bo just forgot the eagle.
Okay.
Hit me into the last break. Yeah.
Hit me with the eagle. Being that there were no guests and that this is a local show, I thought we'd be cool with it. But
instead of having two closes, you'll only have one.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing is sort of a close. We're really trying. That's right. We're really trying to close out the 135. We're closing this. We're getting ready to close an entire era of the show, Jimmy. Like, Bud's going to be back in town.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think everybody's all like, maybe with Bud back in town, I think they're going to try to make you the guy who like actually keeps track of time, Bud. I'm just warning you. Like, I wasn't supposed to tell you, but like I think that they're like, Bo's reign of terror with time management is over. They've been accusing me of being Andy Reid, essentially, is what I think is going on. Thank you. Oh, okay, guys. Look, we have $100 donation from Carmen Gomez, thank you very much. So $100 becomes $200. We are very close to getting all of the matching donations. That means we have $35 left for the matching donation. Carmen, thank you very much. $100. That brings us to $35 left for the matching donation. So $965 so far. We want to thank both of the people and everybody who's been donating during the hour. 515-223-1150. 515-223-1150. Let's get one more call. Someone can knock out $35. $35, $35, $35, $45. 515-223-1150 or text donate to 515-223-1150.
I was going to say, I think Bud could knock out the $35.
Okay. Put me down.
Put you down for
100.
Okay. Bud, put Bud down for 100.
Put Bo down for
100.
Okay.
All right. So
see, that's how it works.
There you go, guys. Bud, we did it. Matched it. 500 became 1,000. Getting the work done on this show. Bud, I know you're not coming back next week. It's not like the end of an era, end of the era. But it was nice, the last Care-A-Thon, to have you out of town. It will be great to have you back in town the next time it rolls around.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Can't wait to be back there in Des Moines.
This is the Uncommon Good. May Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, reign in our hearts, in our family, our city, our state, our nation, very much so. The world, solar system, galaxy, the whole kit and caboodle. This is the Uncommon Good, and we'll be back next week.
The Uncommon Good with Bo Bonner and Dr. Bud Marr is heard every week on wonderful Catholic stations like this one and anytime on podcast. Just search for The Uncommon Good.